Take notes, record this, memorize this, because right now I'm going to tell you exactly how to raise some serious cash for your campaign. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of The Campaign Grind. I am Pedro Diaz, I am your host, and this is The Campaign Grind. We are here with our good friend, Mr. Ray Valdes. What's going on, man?
Good afternoon, my friend.
Good.
To see you again.
Good. Likewise.
Thank you.
So, today's episode of The Campaign Grind, we're going to be talking about the mother's milk of politics. You guys know what that is? Fundraising. Money. So, basically, I get asked this question all the time. You know, we represent candidates not only here locally, but also throughout the entire United States. And aside from offering candidates services for strategy, mailing, printing, designing, and so on and so forth, they go the extra mile and they ask us, listen, can you help us fundraise? And we always tell them the same exact thing. We're not professional fundraisers, but we can help you out to a certain extent. So this episode of The Campaign Grind, I want to dedicate it solely to fundraising, give you guys tips, tricks, and strategies as to how you could initially get that seed money to get your campaign off the ground. So, as most of you guys know, Mr. Ray Valdes here, he was a candidate for state representative here in the state of Florida. He was a first-time candidate. He was involved in campaigns, you know, most of his life, to be quite frank with you. So I want to kind of throw it to him now so he could give you guys somewhat of an idea of what it was like to fundraise when he's never had to do it for himself. He would do it for other candidates that he was supporting, but it's very different from when you're fundraising for somebody else than when you're fundraising for yourself. So Ray, you ran for office a couple of years ago. You are a first-time candidate. You've been involved in campaigns like I said, most of your life already. And how was that fundraising process for your campaign?
Very hard, very difficult. Well, it was just as I remember when I originally talked to you about it and so on, and you said, you know, it's not easy. Everybody you think that is going to come running and bring you money doesn't happen that way, and that's you know, raising funds for your campaign or coming up with your own funds. You know, it's a very difficult situation. And you have, you know, that's the, I think, like you said, the mother's milk
of politics.
Of politics. You, especially today, you got half a dozen people running for the same office. You have a primary, you have a poll, then you have a general election and so on. And when you go to that, you go through that, it's money, money, money.
Yep.
And it is so important to
But
organize your campaign to do that.
How did you raise money? Like, because you ran, and how were you able to raise money? Because that's really what they want to know, because people run for office, and I'm going to run for office, I'm going to be a candidate, I'm going to get elected, but then, and I'm going to raise a whole bunch of cash. But then
yeah.
How do they go about, or how did you go about doing it, being a first-time candidate?
Well, the true, real fact, I will say, when I first talked to you, you said, get me a list of you know, your 10 or 20 best friends and people, your personal contacts, and we're gonna start hitting them to begin with, and so on and so forth. And I said, oh, come on, you know. You said, man, that is so important. You think that it is, you know, it's going south and this is going north.
Yeah.
And it's all different of what you believe that is going to happen. That is scary. Because I think that when you start fundraising, especially for your own self, I think it's a lot easier to raise money for somebody else, or, you know, or even put together an event like we've done for some friends of ours, personal friends and so on. And you know, and it's a lot easier when it is yourself. You know, I say it's very good to have a team, to have some volunteers that are going to help you with this, that they'll reach out to their friends and families and so on and so forth, and motivate them, you know, to donate to your campaign.
Yeah.
But I say that today, especially, what I see is that people are very skeptic it's like, I don't want to use that comparison, but the fact is, I know when you show up at your friend's house with a Bible under your arm,
Yeah.
everybody starts telling you they're busy, they gotta go, they don't
Yeah,
want to,
they can't.
they don't want to be,
Yep.
they don't want to go through that religious process.
Yep.
So when people know that you selling insurance, everybody runs away from you. All your friends are gone. But I have to compare that, being through those other aspects
Yeah.
too, to the fact of trying to raise funds for your campaign. When you say you're running for office, all those people that you think are gonna donate money to you right away, and
Yeah.
everybody's gonna write you at least a check for $100 or whatever, are really far and few.
Absolutely.
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 It's very hard.
Absolutely.
Uh,
I tell everybody that you know exactly who your true friends are when you run for office. Because you're gonna have a whole bunch of friends that want to support you, they care about you, this and that. But when it comes down to the real nitty gritty, knock on doors, canvass, talk to voters, and even donate to your campaign,
Yes.
they all tend to, disappear.
They disappear. And you have to work hard. And that's why it's so important to have a strategy, to have somebody who is going to strategize your campaign professionally.
Yeah.
It's important that you have a campaign manager that is going to be involved on the day-to-day operation of the campaign.
Yeah.
And and your volunteers and so on, because this is the meat of how you're gonna access to raise funds.
Yep.
And I've heard you in other programs that we've done, which I failed to do that you have told your audience, hey, everybody you talk to, and if you go knocking on doors, or if you're talking to someone and you have their attention, don't fail to ask them for a check for $20, $25,
Correct.
whatever it is.
Whatever it may be.
Because everything, and that way, also that makes you have a commitment from that individual when
Correct.
they give you a check.
More than likely, they'll vote for you because they're committed. They feel committed because they donated to your campaign.
Yeah, if they donate to your campaign, you be sure they're gonna vote for you, or they're gonna, yes.
So to make it clear, yes, we are telling you one of the tips is to, once you're canvassing, knocking on doors, and talking to the voters, ask that particular voter for a contribution. I know it's not the easiest thing to do, but ultimately the voter will feel committed to your campaign because he or she gave you $5, $20, $30, whatever they were able to afford at the time.
And follow up, because a lot of times when you go to a meeting, or even if you put together an event to fundraise or to declare your
Candidacy.
your candidacy, a lot of people will say, oh, I'll send you the check, or I'll give you a check next time I see you, and so on. Make sure you follow up with those people, because they forget, or they'll tell you that to avoid giving you a check then, and so on and so forth. So it is very important, I think, to follow up, to give them a call, or have one of your volunteers or your campaign manager or something call them up and say, Ray told me to call you, that you promised him a check, and so on and so forth.
Yep,
Can I come by and pick it up?
You gotta do that follow-up. You gotta do that follow-up. So that was exactly, how he raised cash when he ran for office for the very first time, and he also kind of went into what he would do differently, and different strategies as well, I guess, that he learned throughout the campaign and after the campaign. So now what we're gonna get into is basically how to raise some serious cash for your campaign. So get ready, take your notes out, take your pens out, take notes, record this, memorize this, because right now I'm going to tell you exactly how to raise some serious cash for your campaign. You guys ready? All right. So number one, what we tell all of our clients is the first people that you need to hit up are your friends and family. Okay, friends and family, that's gonna basically help you get that seed money for your campaign. Host an event at your house, a dinner, a barbecue, something. Invite your friends and your family over. Have them all contribute. Whatever they can contribute. From friends and family alone, depending on on the type of race, you should be able to raise easily anywhere between $5,000 to $20,000 between friends and family. That should give you
and people can donate more than one time,
They-
up to the limit.
up to the limit, correct? So you got a family member that can only do $5 or $10, every other week or a month. You can set it up on automatic payments all the way up until they hit that maximum contribution, either $500, $250, or $1,000, whatever the campaign contribution is within the city, state that you're running in, and county. So number one is always go after your friends and your family. Talk to them, host events at your house, take them out to dinner, something, but there should be no reason why you can't get at least $5,000 to $20,000 from your friends and your family for your campaign. So next step, once you have your friends and your family that they're committed, they're giving you money, what you're going to want to do is basically get a list of the lobbyists that do business within the district you're running in, within the city you're running in, within the state that you're running in, and so on and so forth, and set up an email. Okay, it's going to be very difficult, it's going to be very tedious, because they're not going to know who you are, especially if it's the first time you're running for office. So send them an email, introducing yourself, let them know how long you've been in the area, what your plans are, that you want to get together with him or her to basically explore the different opportunities, and let them know exactly what your vision is for your city, your state, or even your county. More than likely, they're not going to respond to that email. So once you send out that email, like I said in the previous episode, wait a couple of days, give them a call. More than likely, they're not going to answer. Leave a voicemail. After a couple of days, send a follow-up email. More than likely, they're not going to respond. Wait a couple of days, make another call, leave a voicemail. And then after that, if they still haven't reached out to you, they haven't called you, they haven't texted you, they haven't emailed you, casually pass by their office. More than likely, they're going to be there. Listen, I was just in the area, wanted to talk to you. Do you have some time to grab some coffee? You want to make sure you make it a point to try to get in front of these lobbyists that do business within the city, the district that you're running in, because they obviously have an interest in that area. So if they see that you're persistent, if they see that you're willing to take the time out of your day to make an effort to try to meet with them, more than likely they're going to hear you out and ultimately contribute to your campaign. So number one, friends and family, do events, get as much cash as you can from them. Number two, get a list of all the lobbyists that do business within the district and the city that you're running in. Follow up with them. This is one thing that a lot of people don't do, especially first-time candidates, is the follow-up. Everybody just sends one email and then, they never got back to me, so forget about it. No. Email, call them, show up to their place. Do that constant follow-up. Make sure that you do everything, whatever it takes, just how you guys see back there, whatever it takes to get in front of this particular person and hopefully ultimately get their contribution. And then number three is, like I said, we discussed this now earlier when Ray was talking, was once you're canvassing and knocking on doors, talk to the voters. Talk to the voters and don't feel ashamed of asking them for a $5 contribution, a $10 contribution, or something, whatever it is that they can do. The reason why is because you want to secure, one, that commitment from that voter for, one, ultimately the vote, and then two, for some extra cash for your campaign. Ultimately, once people contribute to your campaign, they're going to feel committed to you, and they're going to want to make sure, and they're going to go out of their way to make sure that their investment goes a long way and ultimately gets you elected.
That's right. And let me tell you, having the money to do things, everything takes money. You're going to do printing, you're going to do any kind of marketing. Remember, you're selling yourself.
Yeah.
And it is very important. It depends, how much money you're going to get from people and how well you sell yourself to them.
Yeah.
And don't be shy to go back for the second time to that list of those donors if they didn't reach the limit of their donation or contribution to your campaign, and pressure them. And if it's family and friends, if they're going to give you a check for 100, say, come on, make it 2, and so on, because it is very hard to raise funds. Even if you're, like I myself, I've been very active in the community, advocacy, an activist, many organizations, 100 different organizations and so on a full service basis, and I thought, it would be a walk in the park for me to get elected, and it didn't work out so, because, you're going to have a lot of competition, You need money, money, and money.
Yep.
Besides your qualifications, besides everything else that goes with being a candidate, you need money. And I know friends of mine that reject soliciting funds. They got a certain amount of money. They figure they're going to use their own funds for their budget, and I think that's a
terrible mistake.
A terrible mistake.
Terrible
That's
mistake.
a horrible mistake because the more people you get involved in your campaign, the more people you get to donate to your campaign, the more committed people you're going to have. That they're going to, each one of those individuals, they have a circle of influence of 10, 20 people, and if they donate it to your campaign, they can also motivate other people to
donate as well.
and vote for you.
Absolutely.
So, get them involved, get out there, and reach out into their pockets.
Yeah.
And, don't be shy to do that. You need it.
Yeah, you need it to run a successful campaign. And another thing that I didn't include there, it's now with social media and all this digital stuff. Basically, you can start boosting and promoting ads on, for instance, Facebook, with a link to your to your donate button, and you can actually target the people you want to show that to. If you're running for, I don't know, judge, you may want to target people interested in law within your area, and kind of have them read about you, and then if they feel comfortable and they like what they hear, ultimately contribute to your campaign. So there's different ways to go about doing it, but those are the three main ways to honestly do it. It's just friends and family. That's where you should get the initial money to get your campaign off the ground. Like I said, any race you're doing, you should get at least a minimum of $5,000 to $20,000 for your campaign. Number two is basically getting a list of all the lobbyists and people that do business within your municipality, your district, whatever it is you're running for. Email them, follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up. There's nothing wrong with the video. It's continue to follow up.
Yeah.
So, and then number three is once you're canvassing, talking to voters, asking for somewhat of a commitment for $5, $10, whatever it may be. And then if you do have some extra cash, make a nice little video off your iPhone or something, upload it to Facebook, and include in the description box a link to your contribution form so people can donate online. So,
and let me tell you something. So important to make your dollar count. Each dollar you invest into your campaign, and that's the reason why I keep hammering to the fact that you want to get professional assistance. I know you know your business very well, and I'm very aware of the fact that how many people you represent and you have represented to a successful campaign. And I am saying, don't spread yourself personally and with someone who says, hey, let's do this, that, you get printing done here and that over there, and the whole thing.
No.
And then, you deplete your funds. You need a professional strategy for your campaigns today. Like Pedro was saying, there's a lot of stuff to be done. There's a lot of things that have to be done on a timely basis, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you need all of that to come together. And the only way you're going to do that is through a professional strategy for your campaign. Do it professionally, because your strategizer is going to make every dollar count for 10. I know.
Yeah.
Believe me, you want to do that. You think you're going to save money here, you're going to save money there, you're going to do this, that. Don't work.
Don't
I've
piecemeal.
been there.
Don't piecemeal your campaign. Don't
No,
piecemeal your campaign.
exactly.
Guys, as always, if you have any questions whatsoever, give us a call, 1-888-688-DIAZ. Once again, 1-888-688-DIAZ, or shoot me an email, pedro@diazcampaigns.com. And if you guys like this episode, I urge you to please click subscribe on the bottom so you can get notifications of every time we upload a new Campaign Grind episode. You'll get it directly on your email, your smartphone device, and you'll be able to check it out immediately as soon as it goes up. So thank you guys very much for tuning in. Do you have any questions, Ray?
No, this is a fantastic.
So,
Thank you, Pedro.
as always, if you guys have any questions, give us a call, 1-888-688-DIAZ. Shoot me an email, pedro@diazcampaigns.com. Make sure you guys hit subscribe there on the bottom. Thank you guys very much once again for tuning into this week's episode of The Campaign Grind. I am Pedro Diaz. Until next time, signing out.